Hello everyone and welcome to podcast number 6. So recently in Korea this past week we had a holiday called Chuseok, which is usually regarded by foreigners as equivalent to the Western Thanksgiving. Basically what it is it's basically a 3-day holiday. I think usually like the middle day is the day where it's like the main day of it. But usually, this is the day where most things in Korea will be closed, and a lot of Korean people will go back to their hometown and spend time with their entire family, like grandparents, cousins, aunties, uncles, etc. So this is really really big holiday. But this is for Korean people. So for the people who are not Korean living in Korea, we often have a lot of there's usually a week that's kind of like lonely for us. We usually have a pretty long weekend. So this year we were lucky that all 3 of the days fell on work days. So we just had a 5-day weekend. It's currently Saturday, and yeah, this is my 4th day off, and it's been really amazing. But a lot of the time, us foreigners can experience a lot of loneliness, especially for foreigners that are like me, because my family also celebrates this holiday, but the Chinese version of it. So it has been a bit I think especially the early parts of my time in Korea, I did used to feel quite lonely during Chuseok, but I have found ways to deal with it, I guess. And I did try to talk about it quite a bit in this week's vlog. So if you want to hear me go more in depth in that, check out the vlog that's coming this Wednesday. I don't want to go too in depth in this because I want to talk about this more into this kind of topic in my vlog, but also in a future podcast. So I'm just gonna probably just leave it there for now. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is that this week I found that I kind of found that gaming was a pretty big thing that really helped me during this time, and I kind of wanted to just discuss some of the positives and negatives of it. Because I do feel that especially with online gaming, it does have this kind of negative connotation to it, even though it is such a very, very common hobby these days. I feel like most people online tend to be involved in some kind of online game, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There are things that I do think are wrong in relation to it, but I'll get more into that later in this podcast. While I do think it does, I can kind of understand why it has these negative connotations, and that's probably more on the extreme side of things. But because of that extreme side of online gaming, pretty much everyone who's involved in the hobby is affected by those negative connotations. And I've experienced it myself, where I felt kind of like embarrassed or ashamed to talk about the fact that I'm into them, unless I knew that the other person was also into them. So I feel like it is something that I wish would change a little, and I do feel like we are going in a bit of the right direction for it becoming just a bit more of a normal thing, not so demonized as it used to be, and it still kind of is on a smaller scale. I think it's really great playing games to unwind, especially if you have a full day of work or full day of studies and you've gotten your work done. But another thing when it comes to online games, I feel like one of the great things is for being able to stay connected with your friends. It really becomes like another space for you to hang out, and normally I could understand why people would be kind of against it, because you can just go and meet up with them, and I can understand why people wouldn't enjoy it as much or kind of look at it in more of a negative light. I think for me though, one of the things that I've realized is that being abroad, I kind of got so disconnected from all of my friends and all the people that I knew back home. That a lot of the time while I've been here, I kind of felt like I was not going to be able to stay in touch with everyone, even if I tried. not everyone is into just like constantly texting back and forth. Like I know I am, but I don't think that's that common. I think a lot of people, when you catch up with people through text, they just chat for a couple hours, and then that's kind of it. And then you message them again, like later that year or a year later or something like that. And I feel like every time I go back to Australia, sometimes it's really hard to connect with some people. Sometimes we've just gone in such different directions that we kind of are almost different people. But there are some of those connections that, even though we haven't stayed in touch, when we do meet up again, it is kind of like we were still friends the whole time. I mean, like we were still friends, but we were kind of disconnected. We weren't as connected as we once were. But yeah, I think I just kind of like accepted that was my reality now, that I chose to let that happen, and I was just gonna have to either find a way to reconnect with people when I go back, or I'm gonna have to just make new friends. And I've always just accepted that as a fact, and I never thought anything otherwise. So I play an online game called Final Fantasy 14. It's a pretty big game, and I've been playing it for a little while, but usually I've been playing it for a little while, but usually I just play it alone because I really like the story, and I enjoy like the way the game looks and the way it plays, and I like how you can kind of play it casually, because I'm a very busy person. I can't play games as much as I would honestly like to, but I have a pretty busy social life and I'm pretty busy with work. I do a lot of drawing, and I also make YouTube videos twice a week, so I'm pretty busy with a lot of stuff. Like that's just the basic things that keep me busy. But then I have like all these other things that I've got going on. Like I also do volunteer stuff, and I'm always doing stuff that keep me out of my house. So it makes it hard for me to be like fully into games. But I do like that this game is pretty good for like someone who's a bit more casual like me. Except for this week, I wasn't that casual because I was at home for 5 days with no work and nothing to do except for like recording a vlog. I think I just kind of lost track of what I was talking about. Anyway, this week, so I've been playing that for like over a year now. But this week, a couple of my friends from Australia started playing it, and then we started playing together while in a voice call, and it was almost like we were hanging out together again. And then they have other friends of theirs that are also playing. So then we ended up all just playing in a group of like 8 to 9 people or something. And it was like, it really felt like I was back home in Australia hanging out with people again. And it was just so cool to be able to experience that. And I realized, and I remember like after the first day of doing this, the next day, so I think the first day this happened was like a Sunday. So the next day at work, I was telling my coworker about it, and she's in her 50s, and she didn't really grow up with this sort of stuff happening. So I think for her, she only knows games as that form of like addictive entertainment and stuff, and she never thought of it in this way. So when I told her about how I felt about it and how it was really exciting, we're all on voice call, we're just like, talking a lot and having fun and laughing and all that kind of stuff. She was like, wow, that's actually really nice. And she's like, should we stop like trying to stop children from playing games? And I felt like that when she asked me that kind of was the inspiration for this week's topic. But one of the things that I told her is that I don't think it's wrong to be playing games, especially as a child, but I do think we need to teach them balance and self-control, and I'll get into that slightly later as well. But yeah, I realized that right now, so for someone like me who lives abroad, it's so good to have something like this where I can feel like I'm still connected to people back home, while also not being back home. And I know eventually I will be back home, but right now I'm not. And it's kind of like comforting to have like this space where no matter where I am or where other people are, we're still kind of together there. And I really like the idea of that. So it's like such a cool thing. But apart from that, another thing that's really good about it is that right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. So being in the middle of a pandemic, A lot of people are stuck at home, unable to really socialize, and I feel horrible for people who live alone, especially extroverts who live alone. That must be so tough. But I feel like something like this will be a really great solution. Like you get to play something with all your friends. You get to find a way to pass the time if you're not working or studying. If you're working or studying, make sure to get that done first. But it's a really good way to spend your time, and you still get to socialize and hang out. I do feel like I feel like it's a really good thing that pretty much everyone. I wouldn't say everyone should do it, but I think everyone could do it if they are interested. I don't think you should not do it just because you feel like it's not going to be like beneficial for your life or something, or it's not productive. If you enjoy it, I think you should do it. Don't focus on what's productive or not productive. I think I've been mentioning like this productivity thing in like every podcast. Eventually I'll get to a podcast where I'm talking purely about it. But anyway, yeah, the main thing is right now during a pandemic, it's a really great way. It's a really great alternative method for socializing, especially when we don't have a choice about it. And you can always just drop it once you're allowed outside again, or you could keep it up and just keep it more casual after you're able to leave the house. Whatever you want. You don't have to feel pressured about it, but I think it's just like it's a great option that's out there right now. Yeah. So now on the opposite side of things, the opposite side of the spectrum, gaming can also be dangerous if it becomes an addiction. And I have experienced getting to a point of pretty much addiction, and I feel like it is a lot related to like mental health. I think the times when I got very addicted to gaming was when I was in very deep pits of my depression, and also probably when I had very severe like social anxiety, and it was really hard for me to go outside and socialize. Now I still do deal with social anxiety a little bit, but I don't feel like it prevents me from socializing as much as it used to. Now it's more like sometimes I'll get very like uncomfortable in situations, or I'll feel very very shy or very nervous around people, but I'm still okay with socializing. And yeah, so I think there were times where when I got really depressed and anxious at the same time, I would just stay home a lot. And when I was doing nothing at all, my mind would just fill with negative thoughts and emotions, and of course no one wants to feel that way. So I think the way I coped was just by gaming and trying to just force it out of my mind by distracting myself with games. And it did sort of work, but it created a new problem for me, was the fact that I was now addicted to something, and now I was wasting all my time gaming. So then I think the last time this happened was probably, I can't remember if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but I remember that at that time every day I was just feeling guilty that I'll come home from work, get on a game, and then once I finish, it's already time for bed, and I was like, oh, I didn't make a video, I didn't do any drawing. I'm like, okay, tomorrow I gotta do it, but then tomorrow, the next day is the same thing, and it just felt horrible, and it was just a never-ending cycle. And one of the things I realized is that playing games in this way, I was using it as a form of escapism, and I was just trying to run away from my problems. And the only way I was able to overcome this was by tackling my problem directly first, instead of like using games as a way to escape my problem. I should escape my problem by actually fixing or overcoming the problem. And after doing that, I felt a lot better. Now I've gotten to a point where games are not my priority. They're something that I really enjoy doing, and I really try to make time for it every day when I can. But it really is like the bottom of my priority list. So the top of my priority is probably my job first, because I don't have a choice about that. I try to make sure I get all my work done. And also after that will probably be my videos, because I am making videos on a schedule. I make 2 videos a week, and I want to get them done by my schedule so that they can be uploaded at the exact same time every week. So I have to be very on top of that. So I prioritize that over gaming too. Sometimes I'll like finish editing at like 12:30, like after midnight, and I won't have time to game at all because I got to go to bed before work. So that happens sometimes, and I think I used to get really like annoyed by that. I was like, oh, I should have like edited faster or something. But it's like now I'm pretty okay with it. It's like if I don't get a chance to game that day, it's like it's fine. I can do it the next day. The thing that I feel more happy about, and the more I feel like it's more important, is getting my videos done, because I really want to stick to my schedule. My schedule is not that crazy. Like if I was doing it like daily, like that'd be pretty crazy. It's only twice a week, and I can manage that, especially with my current work schedule. So yeah, that's like kind of how I like what I prioritize, and then after that, I'll try to prioritize my drawing, because I want to get enough drawing done so that I can improve my skills and also like be able to do something with my drawing. I really want to be able to sell my work and to make something out of it. Gotten to a point where I'm really able to prioritize things over that, and not like waste my entire day on just gaming. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people need to learn for themselves, how to do that. And I think a lot of the time it's not too hard. You just need to kind of find your you gotta kind of find your reason for all the other things. Like for me, I really enjoy making videos, and I really want to keep this schedule, because I know one thing, I know it's better for the algorithm if you keep a schedule, but also I feel like it's better for me if I just know that this is when this is my routine, my weekly routine for my videos. It really helps me like mentally, and it also just keeps me more organized. So I really like that. But also, like, one of my dreams is to be a professional artist. So to be able to achieve that, I have to be able to draw a lot. So I realized like I value these things a lot more. Gaming I really like, but I don't have anything that's like more important than these other things that I'm striving for. So I'm trying really hard to make those my priority, and they work. I think it's very easy to prioritize things in games as well, and I think it's okay to do that, as long as you try to make sure that you're not letting it get in the way of other things in your life. For some people, they're not working. Like for me, I'm working to become a professional artist, and I want to do stuff with YouTube and stuff like that. But a lot of people, they're not doing that. If you already have a full-time job, and that's all you need, as long as you get your work done, or whatever else, like that's then you got enough time to do it, and you don't have to feel guilty about it at all. I'd say there's probably three main things I would say to be mindful of when it comes to gaming. First thing is to get your work done, whether it's your job or your schoolwork. Get it all done. Get your homework done. If you're working from home, make sure you get all your work done. Second thing is to get enough sleep. I think when I was like 13 or 14, I remember I was really addicted to gaming. During the vacation time at school, like we had a 2-week vacation in Australia. I'm pretty sure I had times where like I'll just like game all night, go to bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning, wake up in the afternoon, just game until really late, and then wake up again, and then I just did that for 2 weeks. And when I remember that time, I feel so bad, like how I wasted that time. There was so much I could have done, but all I did was just game for like the entire day. I was just sitting down gaming. Definitely make sure you get enough sleep. It's so important for your physical health, your mental health, your everything health. Just get sleep. And the final thing I would say to be careful. There are a lot more things, but these are 3 main things I'd say. Get enough exercise. You don't have to look like a fitness model. You don't have to have like the most perfect chiseled body. You just need to just get some basic exercise. Like minimum, I'd say, like if you're gonna spend a day where like you're sitting at your desk, like for example, if your routine is like you're gonna work 8 hours at home or in your office, just sitting down at your desk doing your work, and then you go home and you play some games, I'd say try to get like 20-30 minutes of exercise in minimum. Like try to just go out for a walk or something. And if you're not able to, just do some push-ups. Like another thing that I do when there are days where it's like harder for me to go outside, like when we have like heavy storms. Like last summer during the monsoon season, it was raining every day. So one of the things I used to do is like every time the game is loading or I'm waiting for something in the game, I'll get down and do sit-ups and push-ups. Like I'll just keep switching back and forth between them until whatever I'm done finishes. So I kind of like I try to rush them so that I can get more in before whatever I'm doing like loads. I think that's a really good way to get like some exercise in while you're gaming as well. You can get like ripped while you're while you're gaming a lot. But I'd say try to go outside as well. It'd be nice to get some fresh air and a bit more of that free form exercise. But try to get those three things focused on. Like get your work done, get enough sleep, get some exercise. Try to get that in daily and you'll be good. As long as you can do that, you'll manage. So for today, basically all I wanted to say is that I think gaming is a great thing. I think it's such a great way right now for people to really stay connected and to really have this alternate way to socialize. I really think it's something that people shouldn't be ashamed of doing, and people shouldn't be scared of doing it out of fear of like not being productive, because we need to socialize, especially right now when everyone's in lockdown. But just make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure to prioritize the important things in your life. Prioritize your sleep and your health especially, but also your work. And then when you have spare time, get into this stuff. It's really fun. But that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.